Deep voice came from behind the streamer. Hey, you there. Get out of the way. Wow, why is he cursing? Hearing the voice behind him, Purple Eggplant's expression turned displeased. He instinctively turned around to look back, and the next moment, he saw a giant man over 3 meters tall, walking towards him with heavy steps. Faced with the overwhelming presence, he instinctively stepped aside. He thought that avoiding him would be enough, but unexpectedly, the giant stopped right beside him. Looking down at him, the giant opened his mouth and said, "Little guy, this place isn't suitable for newcomers like you. If you want to survive in this fortress, it's best to go to the city guard to handle your residency procedures. Otherwise, you will be considered an illegal resident." As soon as the giant finished speaking, the viewers in the live broadcast suddenly realized, wow, this is simply a replica of the VR community. Yeah, just look at that big guy's appearance. He completely resembles the enforcers from the Mechanical City. Damn, I should have known. The penguin is still the same penguin. Always imitating, never surpassed. Chapter 239, Endless Yellow Sands, No Sign of Life. As the character Purple Eggplant moved, more and more familiar scenes appeared before the audience. Setting aside personal feelings, just based on the scene in front of them, if it weren't for the prior VR community, this way from the company in question would have undoubtedly attracted countless players. However, such coincidences are rare. Looking at the scene that was strikingly similar to the VR community, the audience couldn't help but marvel. The company in question is definitely a master in imitation. It was fine on the outskirts of the city, but upon reaching the city center, the overwhelming sense of technology made everyone feel as though they had returned to the VR community. However, compared to the smoothness of the VR community, the cyberpunk vibe here felt a bit rougher. Although it still conveyed a strong futuristic mechanical feel, the realism was significantly lacking compared to the VR community. Especially the NPCs passing by, they seemed to lack a certain liveliness. What on earth is this? I thought something fell off. Is the character model just not well done? So disappointing. At that moment, when the audience in the live stream saw Purple Eggplant's character pass by an NPC and they went right through each other, the sense of dissonance made the viewers start to complain. It was then that they realized that while the NPCs looked good on the outside, they were actually quite dim-witted. It was as if everything had been prearranged. Unlike the VR community, where all NPCs had advanced AI awareness, this scene felt so out of place that the audience's anticipation dropped sharply. At first, seeing the graphics, I thought the company in question had finally shown some conscience. But now, I take back my earlier thoughts. This model glitch is just too distracting. You should be grateful. This is from the company in question. How can you not be satisfied with a game like this? Exactly. And look, there's not even a recharge entrance. This time, they really have shown some conscience. Haha. This is just a sci-fi game filled with mechanical elements. Don't take it too seriously. If you take it seriously, you'll lose. Who says otherwise? You can play without spending money. Yes, indeed. Let's see how it goes. If there aren't too many issues, it could be worth trying out. Seeing the discussions in the live stream, Purple Eggplant felt a bit relieved. Before the live stream of the game from the company in question, he was worried that it would be all about recharges and would flop right away. However, to his surprise, once in the game, he found that they had genuinely put in effort this time and actually released a free game. After playing for a while, while the graphics might not match those of the VR community, overall, it was better than many other games out there. And most importantly, it's free. Haha, this time the company in question really went all out. Friends, this game is indeed a great way to pass the time. The most important point, it really is free. Seeing that this game has no pitfalls, the streamer began to enthusiastically promote it. While introducing it to the viewers in the live chat, he made his way towards the city guard office. Guided by the signposts, he quickly arrived at the office. By this time, there were already quite a few players present. All the players lined up voluntarily, and during their leisure time, the most talked about topic among them was the recent significant changes from a certain company. Haha, I really didn't expect them to be serious this time. Yes, I really didn't believe it when I first saw the advertisement saying it was free. But who would have thought that the entire game doesn't even have a recharge option? It seems that this time they are really determined to make a good game. Make a good game? Don't get your hopes up too high. Haven't you noticed that the whole game city is just a copy of the player community VR? A copy is still better. It's much better than waiting in line every day to get into the VR community. Yes, ever since the player community VR opened up to a global audience, it has been packed. There's no helping it. After all, the games there are just so fun. Standing in line, the streamer listened to the surrounding players chatting, but found that the most discussed topic was still about the player community. I have to say, in today's gaming market, it seems there's no game that can surpass the player community at this moment. Next, at this moment, a strong voice rang out. Still lost in thought, the streamer was nudged from behind by another player. It's your turn. Hearing someone call his name, he finally reacted and hurriedly approached the NPC. Fill out the form. Walking to the window, a paper was handed out from inside. The streamer instinctively looked down and was immediately stunned when he saw the content. At this moment, he felt a bit bewildered. Why does this suddenly produced paper look so similar to the forms from the player community? Wow. Isn't that a bit shameless? Yes. They even have to copy the form? Who would say otherwise? The player community has a huge traffic, implementing one account per person, and needs to keep statistics. What were they doing before? Now they want to act high and mighty? Do you think this could be a trap? Looking at the familiar form, the viewers in the live chat started discussing. Hurry up, can you be any faster? Just as the streamer hesitated, an impatient voice came from behind. With no choice, he had to fill in all his real information on the form. During this time, something absurd happened. That is, this form mimicked by them actually required personal bank information. This is ridiculous. The reason the player community asks for bank information is that its auction house is linked to the player's banks. All income in the game can be exchanged for points or cash. But what do they have? Is there no need to recharge, just use a bank card directly? This is truly absurd. If it weren't for the urgent prompting from behind, Zakizi would have insisted on asking the staff about everything. Beep beep beep. Player Zakizi's information has been completed and will be teleported to area F1 in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Just as Zakizi handed in the form, the system's prompt suddenly sounded. It was only then that he realized why those players who had completed their forms disappeared with a flash of white light. They were being teleported to other areas. 5 seconds passed quickly, and Zakizi felt a flash of white light before instinctively squinting his eyes. When he opened them again, the scene before him had changed dramatically. What came into view was a dry, desolate desert, endless yellow sand, with no signs of human life. Chapter 240. You are favored by the goddess of fortune. Am I really coming out now? Looking at the desolate desert before him, the character could only smile awkwardly. Hey everyone, it seems you should be prepared to fill out the real name registration forms when you play. I don't even know where I am. As he spoke, the character stepped forward while observing his surroundings. After looking around, he sadly discovered that he was the only one in the entire desert. I have to say, this feeling of being alone in the desert is genuinely a bit spine-chilling. Even in the next moment, he had no idea what might happen to him. That penguin really played this well. With an uneasy feeling lingering in his heart, he gradually changed from a slow walk to a light jog. Although he felt a bit creeped out inside, he had to maintain an expression that suggested he was unfazed. After all, he had received funding for this, so the livestream had to be professional. Along the way, he didn't say a word and continued moving in one direction. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed on the path. The next moment, a long snake sprang out from a nearby sand dune. No, it was a mechanical snake with a yellowish body and a steel-like texture all over its scales. Just as the mechanical snake lunged in front of him, a virtual panel suddenly appeared. Steel Snake. Level, LV3. Attack, 6. Health, 20. Remarks. Mechanical beast near the yellow sand desert, likes to hunt passing travelers. A monster? The character froze in place. Viewers in the livestream were also stunned by the scene before them. The next second, countless comments flooded the screen. Wow, what a style. No wonder it's from that penguin. Wow, right at the start, there's a monster. Yeah, level 3, that's a bit much. Hiss. The Steel Snake, seeing the character frozen, didn't he give him any chance and quickly slithered toward him. What? Is this really happening? I'm still empty-handed. Realizing that the Steel Snake was charging at him, the character finally remembered that he had no equipment on him, not to mention a level 3 monster. Even a level 1 would be too much for him to handle barehanded. Damn it. As the Steel Snake lunged at his face, the character instinctively swung his hand. Smack. The strike landed solidly on the Steel Snake's head. The Steel Snake was sent flying by the character's slap. Hiss, falling to the ground. The Steel Snake roared back to life and charged at him again. In the vast desert, danger lurked everywhere. The character didn't dare to run wildly, helplessly. He had to face the vicious snake with his bare hands. Ultimately, after sustaining several wounds and nearly facing defeat, he finally managed to take down the Steel Snake. Swish. In the moment the Steel Snake was defeated, a beam of light burst forth. A few shiny gold coins and a black wooden sword. What the? As he looked at the familiar objects on the ground, the streamer was taken aback, then instinctively moved forward to pick up the coins and equipment. This wooden sword. The craftsmanship, the design, and the feeling of holding it all gave him a strong sense of deja vu. Moreover, even the attributes of this equipment. Ebony Sword, Attack 0 to 5, Enhancement Level 0, Forging Level 0, Socketable 2. Enchanting, none, Special Effect, none. What the heck is this? Seeing this, I feel like I've fallen into a trap. Not to mention the viewers in the live stream. Even the streamer was completely bewildered. The attributes of this ebony sword felt familiar. But why did those other things look so much like pay-to-win equipment? At that moment, the streamer was stunned, and so were the viewers. Anyone who dares to say this ebony sword isn't pay-to-win would probably be silenced by the viewers. I feel like I've returned to the pay-to-win era. I'm reminded of my dad's Seven Wolves again. For some reason, just seeing these attributes makes me want to smash something. Looking at the barrage of comments in the live stream, the streamer's face was filled with embarrassment. There's nothing to be done. Others' wealth can bring disaster. Dear friends. Maybe it's just the equipment that looks similar. There's no recharge option right now. He said this with little confidence himself. However, now that he had a weapon in hand, he didn't feel as anxious. Holding the weapon, he continued to move forward. It must be said, having a weapon makes a huge difference. Along the way, he encountered several steel snakes, and thanks to the ebony sword, he easily dealt with those steel snakes. Notably, one of these steel snakes dropped a piece of clothing for him. With that, he had managed to gather a two-piece set as a newcomer. But after defeating several monsters, the desert seemed endless. After walking for a long time, he still hadn't seen any signs of civilization. What the heck? Is the system malfunctioning and throwing me in the wrong place? Huh, what's that? Someone. Just as he was wondering if the system had made an error, several black figures appeared in the distance in the desert. From afar, seeing those figures that looked somewhat human, he ran towards them with open arms as if he had spotted family. At the same time, as he ran toward those figures, they also noticed him. Several figures rushed toward him at an astonishing speed, dark and green. As they drew closer, strange sounds echoed. And the streamer realized that those rushing figures were not human at all. They were small, humanoid creatures with sandy yellow skin. Oh my gosh. Upon seeing these non-human beings, the streamer immediately hit the brakes, and before he could turn to flee, those small creatures swiftly threw wooden spears at him. Goodness, they're ranged monsters. What the heck? As the spear was about to strike him, the character instinctively waved the ebony sword in his hand. Crack! The spear made contact with the wooden sword, causing it to shatter. Thud! Unsurprisingly, he was pierced by the spear, collapsing to the ground. This is ridiculous. The system must have made an error. Kneeling on the ground, he looked at the approaching monster with a face full of despair. Ding! Suddenly, a voice rang out. Detected that the player is on the brink of death. The goddess of fortune favors you, bestowing you with divine power for 60 seconds. Do you accept? Accept? Is there even a need to ask? On the verge of death, seeing the prompt in front of him, he had no time to think about anything else and immediately chose to accept. With his choice made, the next second, whoosh, a golden light fell from the sky, directly enveloping him. In an instant, instead of looking pale, he stood up from the ground with a holy expression. His entire being radiated a solemn brilliance. The ranged monsters rushing forward were immediately blinded by the dazzling light, and the overwhelming aura left them gasping for breath. In that moment, he, dressed in simple clothes, resembled a war god descending to the mortal realm. Chapter 241. Just need 128. Sword chi spanning 10,000 miles in an instant. It seemed that Purple Eggplant could hear the monstrous howls. What is this? So dazzling. Looking at himself bathed in golden light, Purple Eggplant felt like a saint warrior. He even had the illusion of boundless strength. The previously tattered ebony sword now radiated brilliance. Dazzling to behold. Holding the magnificent sword that exuded a menacing aura and sparkled with vibrant light, Purple Eggplant could only silently say, "So freaking cool. Grant me strength. Almighty being." The streamer Purple Eggplant raised the splendid sword and shouted in a flamboyant manner, then swung it down at the monster in front of him that was already stunned in fear. Swish. Buzz. Sword chi spanned 10,000 miles. It could hardly be anything less. As he swung the large sword down, a golden sword chi burst forth. The terrifying sword chi swept like a storm toward those monsters. Thud, thud, thud. The sword chi surged through, sweeping everything. The creatures that resembled sand ghosts were instantly sliced into countless segments by the sword chi, which then vaporized and dissipated into the air. This scene not only left Purple Eggplant dumbfounded, but also made the viewers in the livestream exclaim that it looked so familiar. The rampant sword chi immediately triggered memories in the minds of the viewers. At this moment, it felt as though they were back in that era where if you were brothers, just strike me. Whoa, does anyone else feel familiar? Haha, I remember now. I initially splurged on this special effect, only to later get a good scolding from my dad's 7 wolves. This incredible special effect made me reminisce about my college days, living frugally on my allowance. Damn it, is this really a game created by an internationally renowned team? I feel like it was crafted by the hands of Ma Hua-tung himself. Haha, you couldn't be more right. It has too much of Ma's flavor. Come on, my fellow gamers, hurry up and log into charge. Whoa, this is just too awesome. Purple Eggplant was completely stunned by the effects of the large sword in his hand. Is this the power of divine favor? This goddess must be a tough girl from the Northeast, right? But to be honest, it feels unexpectedly exhilarating. The streamer Purple Eggplant looked at the large sword in his hand, suddenly filled with enthusiasm, and quickly began to run across the desert with the sword. Taking advantage of the special effects, he rushed to hunt monsters. However, it wasn't long before he noticed that the brilliance surrounding him was gradually fading. Eventually, with a whoosh, it all returned to his previous ragged appearance. The splendid large sword had also transformed back into the cracked ebony sword. Damn, that was quick. The sudden drop left Purple Eggplant momentarily unable to adjust. As the saying goes, it is easy to go from frugality to extravagance, but hard to go from extravagance to frugality. At this moment, looking at his ragged outfit, Purple Eggplant felt quite uncomfortable. But the time for the experience was limited. Just as he was feeling very disappointed, a notification sound echoed in the game. Ding! Congratulations player for receiving the blessing of the goddess. Choose the 128 gift pack. Permanently unlock the goddess's blessing. Mount Desert Camel X1, outfit Desert Traveler X1, and receive a free Beginner Warriors set X1. Opening the above gift pack will grant an invitation code. Successfully recommending friends will earn you Treasure Maps X5, Beginner Enhancement Stones X10, and Beginner Enchantment Scrolls X2. Looking at the enormous icon hanging in front of him, at that moment, Zakizi and the friends in the live stream fell silent. Damn it. As expected of them, the audience in the live stream snapped back to reality and started typing on the screen. Some even began to vent their frustrations. Damn it. The foxtail has finally been revealed. I said, how could they really offer it for free? This is quite a clever move. Throwing people into the desert. With no village in sight. If you want to travel, you must have a mount. What can I say? As expected of them? Honestly, I feel like 128 isn't too expensive. That effect just now looked really cool. But with that 128, I might as well go find a merchant in the gaming community to buy a gun. Right? Anyone who spends that 128 is a big fool. Watching the insults on the screen, Zakizi, who was initially tempted, immediately withdrew his thoughts. He didn't even know what to say. Earlier, he was bragging about not having a recharge option, but he never expected to be slapped in the face right after. Such practices are indeed a signature style of theirs. But this is quite a poor showing. They advertised for free so well. And now, here comes the truth. The viewers in the live stream also started to react. What do you mean free? Fairy tales are all lies. They say they are considering players, creating a free game without earning a dime from players. This is clearly aiming to make players go bankrupt. Forget it. Let's just play. After hesitating for a while, Zakizi finally made a decision in his heart, which is to play for free. He wants the viewers to know that this game can also be played without spending money. Friends, I've decided not to spend on it. We're playing for the pure experience. Spending money loses the meaning of the game. We're not spending money. Hey, let's just play. Zakizi closed the pop-up recharge window in front of the audience and continued walking in the desert. However, after walking for a long time, he still didn't see any signs of life. No, not even a monster in sight. It felt as if he was the only person in this desert. Damn it. Is this going to kill me? How big is this map, anyway? After a long time, Zakizi felt like he was about to dehydrate. His whole body felt as soft as noodles, and the blue bar representing stamina was already empty. The purple eggplant knelt on the ground, gazing at the endless yellow sand. He was completely defeated, not because of the gear, but for the mount. He didn't want to move anymore. His legs felt broken. Haha, look at the streamer's expression. It's hilarious. It cracked me up. It turns out, in this game's ecosystem, if you don't make an initial investment, you can't really play. Didn't the streamer say you could keep going without spending? Why is he struggling now? Haha, I told you, Eggplant Brother, is this reverse marketing? This is just too funny. It seems like this is all the tricks they have. You're really pushing me here. The already frustrated purple eggplant, coupled with the barrage of comments in the live chat, in a fit of anger, reopened the recharge window. Unlike the usual scan to recharge method, this time, the recharge entrance required no choices at all. He just had to select the package he wanted and click to claim it. Without hesitation, he claimed the 128 package. Ding dong. As the package was claimed, a delightful notification sound rang out, almost like a special BGM for those who spend money. Ding dong, your bank. What the heck? What is this? Direct deduction? This is way too shady. Chapter 242, The Terrifying Mechanical Camel. Why am I feeling dizzy? No one expected that this time. The recharge by the penguin would even skip the scanning code. At that moment, everyone remembered that the bank information was included in the details filled out during the real name authentication earlier. Netizens initially thought this was to facilitate player transactions or to imitate the auction house set up by certain gaming countries. But little did they know. They were overthinking it. This was all just to make things convenient for the penguin itself. Goodness, is there no law? At the same time, just when Purple Eggplant was filled with regret, a flash of yellow light suddenly appeared. Enveloped in golden light, Purple Eggplant began to undergo a dramatic transformation. Accompanied by mechanical clicking sounds, the game character of the streamer Purple Eggplant donned a set of golden armor, much like a warrior putting on their battle attire. It was reminiscent of Iron Man suiting up. The entire body was clad in a brilliant golden armor suit, especially at the joints. The exposed, intricate gears gave off an impression of meticulous detail. Forget about the pain of spending 128. Just ask if these details are worth it. I must say, while the essence of the penguin game remains the same, The attention to detail in this transformation is truly impressive. Suddenly, Purple Eggplant didn't have time to admire the dazzling long sword in his hand when he heard a strange noise behind him. Startled, he turned around. What the heck is that? Upon turning, Purple Eggplant was immediately taken aback by the creature behind him. If he hadn't been momentarily stunned by the shock, he might have swung the long sword down without hesitation. Fortunately, he didn't do that, because as he observed, a name of that creature flashed in front of his eyes. Desert Mechanical Camel, my goodness. Looking at this mechanical creature, which was at least 5 meters tall and completely black, if it weren't for the distinctive 2 humps on its back, he would have had a hard time associating this creature with the camels he had in mind. This is my mount. Purple Eggplant stared wide-eyed at the towering mechanical creature, then glanced at himself looking like a warrior. Wow, it's packed with details. This money seems to have been well spent. Just then, he noticed a earthy yellow garment hanging on the side of the mechanical camel. It looked a bit like a cloak. Could it be a costume? He instinctively walked over, took down the cloak, and immediately a prompt popped up. Desert set, desert cloak, desert veil. Essential for desert travelers. All attributes increased by 10, fire resistance 20. Wow, it really is a costume. Seeing the description, Purple Eggplant wore a look of realization, and without hesitation, he equipped the outfit. As he donned the desert cloak, the brilliant shine of his armor was instantly covered. The whole person was enveloped in the cloak, presenting a grand yet luxurious appearance. Now it's starting to feel right. After completing his outfit, Purple Eggplant climbed onto his mount without hesitation. Sitting at a height of about 5 meters, he immediately felt a sense of superiority. This is amazing. Riding on the mechanical camel, the Purple Eggplant confidently pulled the reins, only to regret it the next second. What the heck? This is too fast. Oh my goodness. Help. He had never understood the feeling of speeding like the wind before, but now he finally got it. At that moment, he took a closer look at his mount. Desert Mechanical Camel, a must-have transportation tool for home travel, moving speed 1,000. Wow, just as fast as a high-speed train. This camel is incredibly quick. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call it a convertible high-speed train, speeding through the yellow sands. This is the charm of spending money. Oh man, I might want to report this. Is this even fair for players? The gap between spending and not spending is just too huge. Streamer, if you have the ability, delete this mount. Who wouldn't agree? With such a speed, it's practically flying. Haha, can't you all see it yet? The company hasn't changed its nature. They just want you to feel that the money spent is worth it this time. In the live stream, as viewers saw the Purple Eggplant's mechanical camel racing through the desert like the wind, they immediately shared their thoughts. At first, when they saw the initial gear on the Purple Eggplant, they didn't think much of it. But now, seeing this camel that resembled a plane on the horizon, they all became uneasy. This thing is really disrupting the game balance. Of course, many viewers had already seen through the essence of the company. To put it simply, in their games, you can only become stronger and faster by spending money. On the surface, everyone is playing a game, but in reality, they are all competing with money. The more you spend, the stronger you are. And it's the kind of daily events that keep changing. In summary, it's all about finding ways to get players to pull money out of their pockets. As for the fun of the game, that's never considered. Of course, that was in the past. This time, they have come back with no flaws in the details. As the saying goes, a rogue is not scary, but a rogue with culture is. And at this moment, the company is like a cultured rogue. The price of 128 is honestly not expensive. Some viewers are already slightly tempted. Naturally, where there is someone tempted, there are those who stir the pot. Guys, let us disperse. This is just about spending money. Nothing to see here. Instead of wasting time here, why not go to the other game and grind for a special card? You might just strike it rich. Exactly. This thing is all about spending. It's better to grind for a card in the other game. Come back and spend after that. Many viewers started shouting in the live stream. Compared to the company's cyberpunk theme, the games in the other realm are far more appealing. Setting aside the gameplay quality, the recently increased prices for special cards have already become the main currency in the entire community. Moreover, in recent days, this price continues to rise and has gradually created a situation of supply not meeting demand. As a result, more and more players are immersing themselves in the community games day and night. Among them, most are individual players. After all, in the community, the real name system is notoriously strict, leading many studios to fail prematurely. Those that have survived are usually small studios formed by a few like-minded friends. It's more accurate to call them comrades rather than a formal studio. These individuals have now turned gaming into their profession. Their income from the community is comparable to that of white-collar workers in first-tier cities. In fact, with the right opportunities, their earnings from a single event can rival the annual salary of white-collar workers. Because of this, the popularity of the community has become unstoppable, making it the top money-making game in the country. Ironically, the one who started it all, Lin Fei, is now lying in a hospital bed. staring blankly at the white ceiling. How did I end up feeling faint? Chapter 243, Don't Exhaust Yourself. Why did I pass out? Lying on the pristine hospital bed, Lin Fei was filled with confusion. Last night, just like usual, he didn't meet any female players, nor did he do yoga. He simply lay on the sofa, contemplating the next steps for the VR community. Yet, he didn't know why, but as he thought, he just lost consciousness. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a hospital bed, and after asking the nurse who was checking on him, he learned that he had been brought to the hospital last night. The nurse also informed him that he had merely fainted and was in shock, with no other issues. How could someone just faint for no reason? Clearly, it didn't make sense. However, no matter how illogical it was, Lin Fei truly felt nothing was off. Lying in bed, he pondered for a long time but couldn't figure out what had happened to him. However, it was worth mentioning that there was not even a single person by his bedside, which genuinely made him feel a bit heartbroken. He was well aware that others were busy, but his sister was just idling around. She had simply dumped him at the hospital and then disappeared. What a true sister. Not long after the nurse left, a doctor entered the ward with several interns, beginning to ask Lin Fei about how he felt after waking up. After the doctor's repeated inquiries, it was finally confirmed that he was indeed fine. Although he was okay, he couldn't be discharged immediately and had to stay for a day of observation. Even though it seemed unnecessary, he thought of it as buying peace of mind. Therefore, he shamelessly treated himself to a day off. However, lying dryly in the hospital bed wasn't Lin Fei's style, wearing a hospital gown. He got up and walked out of the ward. As soon as he stepped out, he saw a few young men chatting at the entrance of another room. What the heck? Last night, while playing a certain game, he unknowingly spent nearly 10,000. Ugh, don't get me started on that ridiculous game. Let me tell you, finding your bank card is just a trap. In the past, there were prompts when recharging that made you hesitate. But now, it's straightforward. You click and the money is deducted without even asking. Seriously, it feels like I didn't spend any money when I clicked without scanning for payment. Last night, I got carried away and charged nearly 10,000. My wife doesn't even know about it yet. If she checks the bank one day, I'll be in big trouble. What do you mean by that? I spent money yesterday, and as soon as it hit my card, it was gone. I haven't even dared to go home since. Damn it, that company is a trap, but at least the VR community understands us. Exactly. The games from the VR community not only don't cost money, but also can make you money. I must have been out of my mind to go play that game and act like a big shot. Hearing the conversation of the young men, Lin Fei instinctively turned his face away. Wow. Even in the hospital, he ran into gamers. From what they were saying, the game from that company seemed pretty good. Otherwise, these people wouldn't be so impulsive. You're awake? At that moment, a slightly coarse voice rang out behind Lin Fei. Without turning around, he knew it was his heartless older sister. There was no helping it. How could he ignore such a distinctive voice? He thought no one was paying attention to him. With a hint of complaint in his heart, Lin Fei turned to head back to the hospital room, only to raise his head and see Lin Luo. Staring at Lin Luo, who was covering herself like a celebrity afraid of paparazzi, Lin Fei couldn't help but freeze in place. After a moment, he scoffed. What's with that look? You're dressed like a woman in confinement. What is it? Afraid of the light or the wind? As he spoke, Lin Fei had already walked back to his hospital room, while Lin Luo, following him, exclaimed angrily, "You jerk, it's all because of you." Saying this, Lin Luo entered the room and immediately opened her phone to display the headline news, proving that gold can shine anywhere. Once Sister Luo, now Luo wa, so kawaii. What the heck? Lin Fei looked at the article title with confusion, then instinctively scrolled down the screen. Holy cow, who is that? As he scrolled up through the article, a screenshot appeared before Lin Fei, causing him to gasp in shock. No wonder he reacted this way. The screenshot was indeed quite explosive. While it didn't reveal anything explicit, the pink latex outfit highlighted every curve of the figure, the prominent and the rounded. Okay, it was somewhat unkind to comment on his sister like that. And Lin Luo, seeing Lin Fei's wide-eyed, disbelieving expression, felt a surge of anger. Jerk, are you blind? So many people shot promotional videos. Why did they have to single me out for the internet? Don't tell me you knew nothing about this. The posters are everywhere. Faced with Lin Luo, who looked like an enraged lion, Lin Fei momentarily couldn't find his voice. The situation was indeed arranged by him. However, he hadn't expected that when he told Kamaki to use his sister for the promotional poster. It was partly because she was family and partly because it wouldn't cost anything. Alright, he admitted that what he valued most was still the free aspect. But he never imagined that Kamaki, that old pervert, would shoot his sister like this. Actually, I think the photo is quite good. And the post-production is nice too. Lin Fei kept quiet, but once he spoke up, Lin Luo exploded. Jerk. Are you implying I'm not good, and it's all due to the editing? If you think that way, then fine. Call Kamaki right now and have him change the poster. Seeing Lin Luo, who resembled an enraged lion, Lin Fei hurriedly raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. No, sis. It's not the right time for that. Even if you wanted to change it,